guys, I'm here with Danny and Hampus, starting on the first row. Hampus, total domination in North America. How do you feel racing with all the other guys here?
Yeah, we had a really good season in North America. My first season with the team, with Danny, and in North America new tracks. We did very, very well. Won the championship with one round, one race left. Yeah, World Finals, it's always very, very competitive. But we have a really good package. The team, Wayne Taylor, has been on it all week, and as you saw in qualifying, Danny's so rapid around here. So yeah, pole position for the race. Best way to start the weekend, and hopefully I win.
Good. Danny, great lap in Quali 1. What's the strategy and for the race, and what's going to happen in turn 1?
No, for sure. I've been feeling the asphalt. It's quite cold. This is probably the coldest I've ever raced a Super Trofeo in my career. So getting the front tires activated early on will be very vital, especially going into turn 1. But yeah, the car's been phenomenal. Race pace, quali pace. We did a lot of mock qualies early on the week because we know how important track position is, especially around Misano. The box section, the high-speed section, you get a lot of understeer when you're following up close. So yeah, the guys gave me a fantastic car. And yeah, the goal is here, give Hampus the best car possible with the best rear tires possible so he could you know, extend that gap, and hopefully we could get a win here. And again, P4 tomorrow, so we're in good shape. The car's been fantastic. I want to thank Wayne Taylor Racing, thank Hampus, thank all the engineers, mechanics, and yeah, hopefully we could give a good show.
Thank you, guys. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very interesting what Danny said there about doing quali practices in advance. You can feel the guidance of Wayne Taylor, who's been there, seen it, done it in world-level sports car racing. It's these other elements that you're looking for a bit of a difference, and it is going to come down to small things. But what were they talking about? Track position.
Yeah, we've been talking about that all week, Bruce. Track position, we've seen it in all the regional championships. People who've got off the line well and potentially even gone forward have then held that throughout the race. So track position is so key. There's such a short first little run into the first section of corners. It's very hard to pass on here. As Danny said, you eat up your front tyres if you follow too close, you get a load of understeer. So what better than sticking the car on pole and trying to lead from the front?
Well, exactly. So another person right at the front. He started on the outside the front row. He's the European champion, his first season in Europe. And Andrea Cordarelli has got Adam Patera.
Yeah, I'm here with Adam, obviously champion of Europe yesterday. How do you feel today after a great day of yesterday?
Yeah, we had to put the celebration on hold, and we had to focus on qualifying, and I think the team did a great job to put an amazing setup on the car for quali, and Paul managed to put us on the front row for the World Finals. So yeah, all eyes on the race now, and we'll do our best.
You guys gonna give these guys of North America like some work to do today?
Yeah, of course. Well, we always give it our best, and I think the first corner will be quite interesting, also with our other championship contender, Enzo, in third place. Yeah, so yeah, let's see how it goes.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's all eyes on the front, and in fact the second row is shared by the runners-up in the European and the North American series respectively. The car that's sort of missing from that, because this is the melding together of the European, the North American and the Asian Lamborghini Super Trofeo series. We have to go down to 16th place. Alex Denning, the Irish driver who shares with Charles Leong from Macau, didn't get it right in qualifying clearly, but we've seen him in race form. He is a very, very strong racer, but he's got a lot to do. But just remember, the World Finals is 2 events. One on Saturday, one on Sunday. They're both the same length as a standard Super Trofeo race. 50 minutes, driver change or pit stop if you're driving solo in the middle part of the race. But it's joining the points for the top 10 finishers. 15 for first, 12, 10, all the way down to 1 point for 10th place, plus 1 point for fastest lap, and that may yet have a role to play. But it's about the combining of today's points with tomorrow's. I tell you what, let's go down and hear a bit of South African spoken to us, because Andrea has caught up with Anthony Pretorius, car number 99.
I'm here with Anthony. Obviously, it's been a bit of a difficult season with a lot of maybe gambling with strategy and so on, but you guys have starting here in a very good position. How do you guys feel for today's race?
I think we feel good. I think Silas has been mega quick this whole week, and we're just going to push as hard as we can and give it everything. I think we have the pace, so we'll just try everything and see where we end up.
What's going to be the strategy for you guys for the race? Do you think something a bit strange this time, or will we try to keep it clear?
I think since the rest of the season, we've sort of tried to stay away from being strange a bit more. So I think we'll just try and stick with everyone else and try and get it on raw pace. And yeah, I think we have it, so it will be possible.
What about the young driver program? You guys are gonna have a shootout soon, right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, luckily enough, I made the shootout. I'm very privileged to be in this program. It's just super fun and a good learning experience from all the professional drivers that just help us a lot, honestly.
That's good. Good luck, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, so many things to consider. All the drivers come here, do the final 2 races, the last round of their championship, and then they have to come back to the following day and try and shoot for world glory. This is the Asian Championship car, the winning car, SJM Theodore Racing, and it's Alex Denning on board, and Charles Leong who'll do the second part of the race. Fantastic dramatic sky in the background, but what the drivers are getting when they come up the start-finish straight is a face full of sunshine. And also as they turn, this is putting an excuse in the driver's excuse handbook here. I couldn't see when I turned into turn 1. Turn 1 is such a difficult corner. Immediately goes into a right, left, right complex, and then where they're absolutely blinded is trying to keep the cars on the track at turn 3. And the other thing, it won't just be the sun, it will be the temperature of the track. It's falling all the time. It's under 16 degrees now. And as we heard from Danny Formal on pole position, or his car on pole position, he's never driven a Super Trofeo car on tyres as cold as this, on track as cold as this. So it's going to be really, really tough.
Yeah, certainly. We're getting back into the realms, like we said earlier in the weekend, where just working the tyres really hard on the warm-up, the 1 or 2 warm-up laps, and even the first couple of laps of the stint is going to be crucial. But yeah, again, the low sun is a factor. I know we joke about the racing driver excuse book, but it really is a problem. You know, when you're trying to see what's going on, you just hope that when you come in for someone like Alex Denning in the midfield, that he doesn't have cars spinning in front of him, because that could bring an early end to his chase up the field. We know he's going to be on the move. He's got the pace for it, but it's silly things like low sun and a bit of contact in front that can halt that.
No, exactly so. Packed field of cars, 37 in all. The light glinting off the very smart new section of the pit building. Gavin Twang, he's the driver who's going to be starting the Asian Championship winning car. Sorry, no, he's not. He's further back down the order. But there we are, there's the proof. The sun in the eyes, straight in the face. And that's, you can see it bouncing off the pit building. And Gavin Twang and the others, they're from BC Racing, a little bit further down the order, 17th on the grid, but actually not too far from the Asian Championship leader. Now, this is a car that's been moved up for the World Finals, raced in the AM class in the North American Series, and Lindsay Brewer will be kicking off. She's an American racer, just coming across from single-seaters this year. Jem Hepworth, who seems slightly quicker in that car, will do the second part, but they've been pushed up to join the more experienced crew, so this is going to be a learning curve for them. Right. Last moments for the drivers. Vincenzo Sospiri Racing, that will be Paul Levet. Here's Paul Levet on the pit wall side, and yeah, that sun is really quite an issue. By the end of the race, it won't be. It would have dropped around the hill, down behind the hills, just inland from the Adriatic coast here on the eastern flank of Italy.
This is always my argument for keeping a traditional visor, even when you're in a GT car. A lot of people tend to swap for the GT tin top visor, where it's basically the top of the visor still on the helmet, but the main visor's cut off. But I always used to err on keeping the normal visor for days like this.
There you go, but these are things you can only learn by learning them and by being out there experiencing, getting it wrong potentially, but you get it right the next time around. If not, you can carry on doing it for the rest of your life. But, you know, right, here we have it. 37 cars coming out to play, 50 minutes of racing. This is the first of 2 races that form the World Finals for the Pro and Pro-Am honours here at Misano. This is the World Finals. We've settled the 3 national, but not the regional champions, the Asians, the North Americans, and the European Series, all being sorted. This is the very short run going down to turn 1. Great to have a drone shot showing us the field. It seems not particularly wide when you go 1, 2 abreast into it, but at the start there'll be 3. And where that beautiful painting is outside the circuit saying Riviera di Rimini, well, we'll see a few cars going across there. You can be sure of that, because if your choice is hitting someone or going wide, you go wide. Here's the front row. North American champion Danny Formal from Costa Rica, alongside French racer Paul Levet. He ended up 3rd in the European Series because he missed one of the round, and his teammate Adam Patera took the title. Row number 2, Enzo Garacci, 2nd in Europe, and alongside Will Bamber, keeping it neat, 2nd in the North American Series. So really, cream does rise to the top, but certainly for the European and North American crews. Silas Löwenritter, 5th on the grid. He's had an up-and-down season. The pace is there. Now he needs the consistency. Giacomo Pedrini alongside for Target Racing. Colin Queen going solo in this. He had a teammate in the North American Series. Solo this. Benedetto Strignano also running solo, also frequently in the top 10. Nick Persing won one of the races here this weekend, but it's a blank sheet, a clean slate as you go into the World Finals. And alongside him was Luca Segu, then Guido Lucchetti and Ernie Francis, drivers from either side of the Atlantic. It's largely pro cars at the front of the field, as you'd expect. The top qualifier from the Asian Series is Ethan Brown in 13th place. And alongside him, he has Al Moray. Then Darius Trinka, Lithuanian racer, and Alex Denning, the Asian Series champion with Charles Leong, down in 16th place. Gavin Huang and Jonathan Chakotto. Well, Jonathan will do the second part of the race. He's very, very quick indeed. He's got pole for the other race. Then we've got Milos Pavlovic and Rosario Messina. That's 10 rows of cars. We're only just past the halfway point on this grid. It's going to be busy. Jacob Riegel, he's racing this one, not with Ethan Brown, but he's racing for Lippert Motorsport. He too is going solo. And Kalle Bergman, Swedish racer, also for Lippert Motorsport, sitting right alongside. 23rd on the grid, we go down to row number 12 to find the 23rd starter. Glenn McGee, he'll be sharing with Graham Doyle, finding a very good pairing in the Pro-Am class. And the Korean entry, it's Yang Jiatong alongside him. Then we go to Lin Kang and Kai-Shun Liu on the next row. And the team Mikonek Motorsport from Czechia, formerly the Czech Republic, Bronek Formanek, and alongside him Shota Abkazava, then Ugo Bak racing solo, Matteo Seidemann, another driver who's been promoted into the main race here for the Pro and Pro-Ams. Then Anthony Nara, and alongside him Todd Kingsford, who's got a very useful teammate in Chris van der Drift. Then we get to Amaury Bonduelle, former world title winner, down in 33rd. Look for him making progress in car 57. Lindsay Brewer starts alongside him. Then Stefan Guerin, Song Jiaju, and Paul Nemtshoff. And here is the packed field of cars. We wait. We can't see the back of the field, but the official starter waiting there. He can't see them. 16 turns on the circuit. This is turn 16. Side by side they go. And we've got Danny Formal on pole position, the white, blue, and yellow car alongside of Paul Levey. When is that button going to be pressed? Right now. And a really good start from pole position, blasting away for Wayne Taylor Racing. Looks so Enzo Garacci may get up into second place. Will he depose Paul Levey? Yes, he will. Trying to go around the outside. Well, very, very busy indeed. Person trying to make the move there was Will Bamber, 129. Equal for third. 1, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, maybe 10 cars have cut across between turns 1 and 2. That will be looked at by the officials. Oh, and a spinner right at the tail of the field. I think that was what might have been Nick Persing, one of the Wayne Taylor Racing cars. But importantly for Wayne, not only is one of his cars in the lead of the race, but it's already putting clear. Danny Formal is making a fantastic break. He didn't get compromised. Had a really, really good blast off from pole position. Now we're... Well, look at that. That is a really big lead to have. And up into second place, fleetingly has gone Will Bamber, the yellow, bright yellow and black car. But Enzo Garacci deep into the turn 8 goes past him, but couldn't get the braking done, so he's dropped back a position. And Paul Levey, the white car, is trying to get back into third position. Remember, he was second at the start, didn't get the best of getaways. Now he's maybe stemmed the flow away from that fabulous low shot. Look at the drama of that as they go out to turn 10 with that autumnal sky above them. But, oh, well, you can go wide, you can go wider, and wider still, as we're seeing at the back end. I would say full marks of those in the first top half of the field. A very, very tidy start.
Yeah, it's always good to see everyone make it round. Like we say, maybe Nick Persing spun round, but overall relatively clean considering there is high stakes to fight for.
Always an element for drivers when they know it's a two-part race. You know, yeah. But you sort of forget that. You're still just so focused. You've only got another 36 cars with identical performance around you, and you've got to get it right. But at the end of the opening, that is a very, very tiny lead for Danny Formal. Must be over a second, I would suggest. Will Bamber has worked his way. 1.3 seconds behind him. Paul Levey tucked on his tail, just half a second in behind. Looks as though the best of the top runner in Pro-Am is down in 11th place. Good start for Luca Segu. He certainly gained a fair few positions. No, in fact, I'll tell you what, he's exactly where he started the race, around 10th or 11th position. Yeah. But close, but tidy, I would suggest right now. Yeah. We'll take that.
Danny Formal just showing, again, his really aggressive driving style. And I'd actually say he still currently races karts quite a lot. That really shows in the way he can just switch the tyres on, because that's something you have to do in karting. So, you know, he's just using all this experience that he has. Although maybe he's used to racing in warmer climates, he can still switch the car on in these cold climates. And, you know, he's a second and a half up the road after one lap.
You know, across all the, I'm going to say the years, the decades I've been covering motor racing, some drivers just have this exquisite skill to be able to hit it on very, very cold tyres. I remember eons ago young Scottish driver, David Coulthard, fantastic for the first 2 laps. And let's face it, if you're racing in British Formula 3, you're going to be racing on some pretty cold tracks, cold, windy tracks. Coming here in the autumn, we didn't know what to expect. It looked like it's going to be 5 days of sunshine. Then, yesterday, we thought for these races, rain was coming through. It didn't. We'll take that. But what the drivers do not have is heat in their Hankook racing rubber. And around we go, and we'll straighten you all back up again. Well, that was, I'll help you, and I'll help you a little bit more. Turn 14, such a tricky corner. You come through a couple of really fast, well, a bit of bodywork flying off there, a bit of someone's splitter, trying to work out who it was who was given the push and the shove.
Number 9, I believe.
It was number 9, okay, so that's Target Racing, Patrick Frabroni. Okay, well, they've had a pretty good run through the course this weekend so far. Could have been a whole lot worse. The car returned to the track or returned to the right angle of direction. Bit of a gap from 5th place backwards behind Sylvan Ritter. There's another 2.5 seconds back to Benedetto Strignano, but our race leader 1.9 seconds. Danny Formal getting away, but we've seen in some races you go away early on. Are you pushing too hard too soon? But when you look at the way he's driving that car, there's no sign that he's really working it. He's being attacking but being smooth, and everyone else behind. We talked about track position. This is the very essence of why it's so important, because a lot of these drivers are probably quicker than the car in front. You need to be a whole lot quicker to make a move. There aren't too many places on this circuit you can do that. Danny Formal, well, fastest lap of the race. We'll get him down to the 1:34s, but that is why his advantage is stretching all the time. Here's the concentration. Doesn't need to use his mirror. He's got enough of an advantage. He's just going to pick his way through those 3 right-hand kinks. Turn 11, turn 12, 13. Now slowing it down for turn 14. Still probably not getting the feel he wants from those front tyres. Oh dear, the first of the dropouts in the race. That's Song Jia-jun. Brendan Leach rushes out to speak to him. He's qualified. The Kiwi he's talking in, he's qualified very well for tomorrow's race, but there is a reason. Okay.
No, this is Nick Persing, so that's from the contact. So from that being spun round on lap 1, he obviously picked up some damage on the left rear.
Yeah, damage on the left rear, and certainly wouldn't have helped the car going out there. So 2 cars in the pit lane, as we can see. Danny Formal is not in the pit lane. He will at some point. He'll come in to serve a pit stop, but I would suggest he will stay out as long as he feels he can before the pit window closes, because he is the form driver right now. He got the pole position. He's got a lead of 2.3 seconds, and if you can add 1/3 of a second every lap, this is going to be very useful. Hampus Ericsson will be rubbing his hands. Will Bamber in 2nd place, comfortable cushion, similar margin, 2 and a bit seconds back to Paul Levey, and then comes the Oregon car of Enzo Garacci. And really good to see Silas Love and Retta going well. Who's that on the move? Alex Denning. There you go. He started way down from where he'd hoped to be, down in, what did we say, 16th place. Started this lap 9th, he's now 8th. That's Guido Lucchetti. So several drivers here this weekend have shown they can really race, and Alex Denning is one of those. He's fantastic to watch. Who's his next target? It's Colin Queen, the white and red car in front. Here's the SJM Theodore car, and that is impressive.
Yeah, it's a sign of a really good driver when they're able to make a lot of moves and overtake, you know, convincingly on a track that people say it's difficult to pass on. If they can make the moves happen, it's, you know, it's a sign of a true professional.
Of course, you true professionals still do things like you put out messages, you say, oh, it's so hard to overtake on, but you know you can. But again, it's about keeping it clean. And at the start of the race, the worst place to be is the middle of the grid, because if anything goes wrong in front, I would suggest that's why Nick Persing went wide. He was in avoidance of someone else. There's Hampus Ericsson wearing the, well, if you're Swede, you have to wear a yellow and blue racing helmet. Nice and old school, actually, that design, I'd say.
He is kitted up early. We're only 7 minutes in, and he is already kitted up and in the zone. So, you know,
with the helmet on, it's a way of excluding extraneous matter.
Yes.
I think we can say, right, did I say 2.3 seconds? I mean 2.6 seconds now. That's the margin of advantage that Danny Formal has over fellow North American Series racer Will Bamber. They're leaving the rest far behind. However, I will mention several drivers have already got a final warning very early in the race for exceeding track limits too many times. Guido Lucchetti, car number 10, he's the one who's just been demoted by Alex Denning, and a couple of others as well. Matteo Seidemann, he's a bit further down the order, and Kang Ling as well. Further down the order, people being pretty tidy, a few attempted overtaking manoeuvres, but really the driver who's been on the move, 2 drivers. Oh, yeah, another one in the pits. Is that car number 205? I fear... no, it's 263. That was one that's already picked up a a problem. Is this another puncture? Yes, I think it is. Bear in mind, we had a little bit of contact. We could see a little bit of debris and car bits flying around, and loose carbon fibre and a hot racing tyre, and not the best of bedfellows. So I'm afraid 2 punctures being the score on that count. There is always tomorrow, and that's what we have to look towards. But for Danny Formal, today is the day. And in fact, Will Bamber matched him last time around to within 0.02 of a second. That's why the Kiwi is just edging away from the car behind. Paul Levey now 3.5 seconds back in 3rd place. Tell you what, it's about time we had a look at a replay of the start of the race. Neat and tidy, Danny Formal, black and blue car on the inside, Paul Levey on the outside. Brilliant start from the Costa Rican. Very good start from Enzo Guarasci in 2nd place. Got up ahead of Paul Levey. This is the head-on view at the moment. They're waiting for the lights to go from red to green, and as soon as they do, the car with Bauhaus written on its nose, Danny Formal gets the job done. Will Bamber, the yellow and black car, goes around the outside of Paul Levey, 4th, getting into, well, 3rd at that point, but then they managed to get around to Enzo Guarasci in the next couple of corners, and all along Danny Formal was making his escape. In the background, though, there were some running wide, including number 12, that should be Shota Abkazava. Wonderful shot with that low sunshine. Really arty, and car 110. That's where that went around. That's Glenn McGee. So for a lot of drivers, Nick Persing off on the left-hand side. The problems came early, but that many cars into a corner like turn 1 that's so tight, well, it's always very, very tricky indeed. And Shota Abkazava under investigation, along with Amaury Bonduel. Amaury started, what did he say? He started down in 3rd. Yeah, he's risen up the order, but he started way down the order, and yeah, 33rd, and he's up to 21st. So he's been going okay, but maybe there was a bit of push and shove in that, we can't say. But under investigation at the moment. Time penalty, first one, 5 seconds for exceeding track limits, too many time. Matteo Seidemann, driver's been really going well in the AM class in the States, promoted to Pro-Am, but he's been using a little bit too much of the track beyond.
Fastest lap for Will Bamber. He's actually 2/10 a lap quicker on the last lap than Danny Formal. So maybe Danny Formal just managing the gap, looking after the tyres, making Will Bamber work his car harder, which is obviously then going to only, you know, make it easier for Hampus Ericsson in the 2nd stint.
That's always the thing with a Super Trofeo race. If you've got a 2nd driver, even if you are the 1st and 2nd driver, you've got to keep your tyres so they've got some life at the end of the race, and particularly in the hotter climates. If you push too hard too soon, you're in cruise at the end of the race. There's nothing you can really do about it. Right, this is a great view riding on board car number 3. Long way down the order, actually. That's Andrei Lewandowski. I think he rather lost out in the early laps. He's down bottom end of the top 20. But again, this is the view coming down into turn number 8. He's closing right in under braking, and then you have to wait till the car pulls away in front. Little kick, just it's coming up now, turn 9. And then you go into turn 10, it just sort of unsettles the car a little bit. When their tyres are cold, that could be an issue, because suddenly you're just drifting a bit wide when you get in turn 10, and then you've got a problem. You don't get the power down, and you're losing ground.
Yeah, Misano is all about getting clean exits. Every corner leads into another sequence of corners or a straight, so you really have to be focusing on getting on the power really nice and early.
A lot of drivers take curb and a bit more through turn 13 and have to really haul it down to this one, turn 14. Not quite coming to a standstill, but really dropping down the gearbox and hoping nobody's making a lunge up the inside. Car 33, track limit abuse. Well, the penalties are coming. That's Milos Pavlovic for Autosport Racing. That will not be the last 5-second time penalty. Trust me, we've still got, we've only done 12 minutes of this race, but what we have at the moment is a lead battle that's starting to tighten up. It was out to 2.8 seconds, it's down to 2 seconds flat, as Will Bamber is taking 3/10 of a second per lap of Danny Formal, who really pushed hard at the start of the race to get clear. Then he looked comfortable, and now Will Bamber, he's managed to drop Paul Levey. In fact, Paul is nearly 5 seconds back, further back down the track. Here are lead 2, coming down the back straight, out of turn 10, the sun getting lower behind them. And then in the background, Paul Levey has got Enzo Guarasci, fellow French racer, right under his rear wing. Sylvain Ritter tucked in behind Benedetto Strignano, and the background of the shot, Colin Queen and Alex Denning filling the top 10. Let's go down and join Andrea Carelli, who's got Jonathan Cecotto.
Yeah, I'm with Jonathan. He's about to go in the car. Kevin is running pretty good. We saw that you were very fast in Q2. What's the strategy and expectation for your stint?
Correct. Kevin earned a lot of positions in the first laps of the race. Now, unfortunately, he lost a couple just here a minute ago. So my goal will be to recover as much as possible. I believe tomorrow will be really our day, starting from pole position. We really don't have anything to lose. It's just a matter of focusing on the win for tomorrow.
You think you guys have a good car, just not in the qualifying, but also for race pace?
Yes, honestly, I think so. As mentioned, tomorrow is going to be aiming for the win. Today, we will see now. I will recover as much as possible, but not easy from behind.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andrea Collarelli and Jonathan Cecotto. Jonathan always so sort of cool and calm, just pops his earpieces in. Right, still penalties coming. Car 203 was the last one to pick one up. That's Kang Ling. But up front, the lead got down to 1.9 seconds. It's sort of stabilising there, but for everyone in the pit lane, if you're not yet getting helmeted up, your time will come relatively soon. This is 101. Looks so he's out on the track on his own and no one in front of him. Yes, he's the race leader, and that is Danny Formal. 2 seconds clear of Will Bamber. And as he turns into turn 14, the last car in the train is just going through turn 2, so he's not going to catch it for quite some while. The car that's last is 263. I think that was one that came in with a puncture. Yes, it is. It's Changwoo Lee, Brian Lee, and he'll be handing that over to Liang Jietong later in the race. But still going. Judging by the number of woolly hats on the pit wall, the temperatures are certainly cooler than they have at almost, well, no, not almost, absolutely every other Super Trofeo race during the course of the 3 seasons in Asia, in North America, and across the European spring and summer.
Track temperatures dropped 0.6 of a degree, 0.7 of a degree since we've been on. So, you know, it's what is underneath the drivers is changing constantly.
Yeah, okay, well, let's have a look. Running a little bit wide, a little bit wider still. That's Lucas Segu, who's leading this race, and with his teammate Diego Locanto. If it finishes as they are, he's also got the point for fastest lap in Pro-Am, so they want to put that in the bank, but we've got plenty of racing before they can do that, and then look ahead to tomorrow afternoon's race that will conclude it for them. Wonderful high-up shot. You can actually see how the cars are really rather struggling going around the final corner there. Understeer seems to be the order of the day at this point in the race. Right, here are the gaps. 2 seconds between Danny Formal and Will Bamber, nearly 6 seconds further back to Paul Levey. I expected him to be closer, but he's got lots of company. Enzo Garacci all over his tail, and Silas Löwenritter right on his tail too. So if it finishes as it is, again, bite into the extra point for fastest lap. Our lead car of Danny Formal and Hampus Ericsson would bank 16 points. Got to go there yet, though. Looking to see when any moves will come. Looking to see if Alex Denning can pick up another position. He rose from, what would you say, 16th up to 8th. He's stuck behind Colin Queen. And Colin, I've been watching his progress this weekend. He's really sort of improving all the time. He's very good in an interview situation. He seems like a very calm and collected character, which is what you want rather than the traditional old-fashioned image of a hothead.
Yeah, I was really impressed with him in race 2 of the USA, the final race of the season. Won the race on track. Obviously, they had a penalty, so they finished 3rd. But, you know, real sensible, well-driven final stint. Dealt with all the pressure from, you know, far more experienced drivers behind, and actually held the, you know, the win to the finish. So, you know, he's doing well up there in P7 at the moment. Was that an issue for 129? Looked like they had no, I think it's okay, but had a bit of a moment midway through turn 8 there. Maybe just really pushing the limits of what these Hankook tyres can manage.
Well, I think he is. He took 0.2 of a second, 0.3 of a second out of the race leader, Danny Formal, last time to get it under the 2-second mark, which is... and all along, they're just gradually dropping the field behind, which is very good news for their second drivers when they take over. It will give them that comfortable cushion. Now, if you're only joining us for the World Finals, and we're in the second of the part 1s, if you will, we had the first of the 2 races for the AM class runners and the Lamborghini Cup runners. This is the first for the Pro and the Pro-Ams, and we will repeat the programme tomorrow, and then we'll combine the points achieved, work out who are the World Finals champions in each of the classes, in Pro, in Pro-Am, in AM and Lamborghini Cup. Another nice, tidy run through turn 16, the final corner from Will Bamber. Will that lead to him closing in. Can't quite tell you yet. 1.7, well, nigh on identical lap times. 300th of a second gained by the New Zealander. The other drivers right now having to do what they have to do before they get on board. Right, I'm just getting intelligence that Will Bamber's car will come in as soon as the pit window opens. It's good to have a spy in the pit lane because they've decided you've got this 10-minute window. When do you pit? Do you want to go early or go late? But obviously Elias de la Tour feels he's confident enough to get in. Oh dear. Oh. Sitting going nowhere. It's a car
very bad place
from the Pro-Am. It's out of the final corner. It's one of the cars. I think is that Gavin Huang? I think it's Gavin Huang, yeah. Oh dear, so I don't know if he had a spin. It's a very neutral place to end up sitting facing the right way.
Just off the racing line on the inside, so...
Oh, in fact, it's down in turn 14, I beg your pardon. So the camera, okay, has contact. Goes back for seconds, and then he's sitting for sideways just before the first corner. At that point, it, mind you, wouldn't have been very good for anyone else if he ended up in the gravel there, because we might have had to have a safety car come out, and that certainly would have been much fun for Danny Formal, who's built this 1.7 second lead. Here is Danny Formal, just smooth over the curve a little bit and into the final corner. In fact, he's just gone past the point at which Gavin Wang's car was sitting across. And here's a driver with a focus on his eyes, Chris van der Drift, looking to see what he can do, but his car is way down the order in 29th position with Todd Kingsford, but tomorrow he's qualified very nicely. We get a lot of these, particularly in the Pro-Am pairings, where the Am was qualified for the first of two races, and the car's down towards the back, and then the Pro gets in and does the second qualifying that defines the second grid. Will Bamber, well, almost leaving the circuit past the popcorn stall there, as he runs very wide indeed. Still trying to close in. He is still closing in, but we're talking now only a 10th of a second. And the information, the intelligence we got from the pit, from Andrea Cordarelli down in the pits, is that as soon as that pit window is open, the yellow and black Harv car will be diving in and looking to do the driver change. I would suggest Danny Formal will stay out as long as he possibly can.
Yeah, he's got track position. The pace is good. Interesting that the 129's looking to potentially stop early. Maybe they're trying like the Formula 1 style undercut. If they feel Elias de la Tour's pace is going to be similar, then stop early, get him in the car, avoid the back markers they might catch, get clear track, and hopefully jump the 101.
And I think there's one other element in that. They've been given choice by the fact the next car, the car in third, is nearly 7 seconds behind.
Yeah, you know, having that gap to the car behind is a nice buffer to have.
Okay, and Andrea is really hot on the tactics down there, and he said change of tactic for the car in second place. They've decided they're going to copy the tactic of whatever Wayne Taylor Racing does with Danny Formal, which has got to be the way to go. You can gauge exactly where you are. The undercut, well, I mean, it may work your way if there's an incident on the track, but I would suggest any incident that may occur in this race will be happening when the second set of drivers get in, when they're still getting a feel for their tyres in these low track and air temperature conditions, where it could be easy to have a spin when you're not quite conversant, but when you are at the moment, just keep going.
In all honesty, because there's no change of tyres at the pit stop, the traditional undercut that Formula 1 have doesn't necessarily work. Will Bamber's absolutely flying. He's also got track position because he's out front with Danny Formal. He's chasing him, putting pressure on. Who knows? He might be able to have a stab up the inside before the end of the stint. So I would be staying out, and exactly that, mirroring exactly what Wayne Taylor Racing do.
Yeah, and we can bury that word undercut, which gets used the whole time in Formula 1. Right, 1.2 seconds is the gap. It's come down and down from 2.8 seconds. Driver leading, I think we're looking at car 72. Yes, we are. That's Luka Sega, who's risen to 9th overall, leading the Pro-Am class. He's 3 positions up the track ahead of Milos Pavlovic, with Darius Trinka, Lithuanian racer, coming 3rd in class in 15th overall. But the pit window is open. The driver changes are happening.
Frederick Schandorf getting in that car.
Well, what you would do if you had a Frederick Schandorf in your driver lineup, he's very quick in anything with a Lamborghini. Bull on the nose, and so he's taken over from Andrei Lewandowski, who, you know, knows full well that the faster driver in that car is going to be Frederick. So that's an absolute no-brainer. Get him in, make the change, get him out on the track, and see what he can do. And also Lewandowski's car, well, it's tumbled down the order because it's in the pits, but it was in the 20-somethings in terms of positions. But it's very well qualified for tomorrow's race. So maximise your Schandorf time. Slamming at the door there, that was Anthony Nara getting out. Dimitri Enchopert taking over. So the pit's still relatively quiet. It's been the people at the back of the pack largely, where the AM gets out as early as possible to get the pro in to get the best possible result. Seems unfortunate to have two cars so close together when you actually, the pit lane isn't that busy, but that's just sometimes how it goes. It's the rub of the green, if you will. Right, Zhao Jun Song, by the way, 10-second time penalty for causing a collision. That's car number 289. And Benedetto Strignano, he's also got a time penalty for causing a collision. And he's running in 6th place overall, so that will drop him down the order, promote probably the next 3 or 4 cars. So that's how much it can hurt. Right, Jonathan Chicotto, we heard from him in the pit lane. Gavin Huang had that moment that dropped his car right down the order, where he was sitting in the track at turn 15. As you can see, aerial shot of the slow, or more to the point, long, twisting pit exit, and just rejoining the track. On the exit of turn number 3 comes the back end of the field with the second drivers getting on board. Another element we need to bring into the mix is Danny Formal continues to be chased in the lead of the race by Will Bamber. Is the pit stop minimum time from pit in, when you cross the white line at pit in to when you exit go over the white line on the pit out, 105 seconds, 108 if you're driving solo, 3 seconds longer, and that can change a little bit the racing order, but certainly I still think that's about fair. Be so interesting to see. Fastest lap of the race at the moment, 1 minute 34.291 seconds. I would suggest if anyone can break it, we're looking at him right here, right now. Jonathan Chicotto started this meeting in the worst possible way. Qualified very nicely for the first of the Asian Series races, and the end of the first formation lap, pulled to the side of the track, broken gear linkage, couldn't get to see what he could show for us, but today we might. But he's got a lot of traffic to pick off on his way forward.
Yeah, certainly got his work cut out in this second stint.
Right, this is Guido Lucchetti, who, as I just mentioned a short while ago, has got a penalty and another penalty. We've just been talking about Jonathan Chicotto. He's got in the car. He hasn't done anything wrong, but track limit abuse, clearly all from his teammate. Unless he went straight and added one to the pile. So he's got a 5-second penalty. Oh, well, frustration. Driver changes coming thick and fast. The battle at the front of the race still 1.2, 1.3 seconds between them. So Will Bamber's had a real charge, but he's going to get to the point fairly soon where he's got to be looking at what's left on the clock, how long before the pit window closes, when do I cut. But those first two, Danny Formal, Will Bamber, will just keep on pushing until they get the message, come on in, your time is up. Paul Levey has actually sort of stemmed the flow. He was about 7 seconds down. He's 7.5 seconds down now in 3rd place, and then your new European champion Adam Patera will take over the number 6 that's going to be coming in from 3rd place. That's Glenn McGee out. Graham Doyle will take over their car, and that was one that unfortunately got caught up in the first lap incidents. That's another car that's been upgraded to Pro-Am. Indeed. Yeah, indeed. So, you know, suddenly fighting, it's like you'd be moved up a division in football. It's going to be necessarily, you know, a little bit different. You're also having to learn the drivers you're racing against. If you're normally accustomed to competing, well, you're also racing against Asian and North American and European drivers, and you know the ones in your own series, but to be moved up a class for this, well, it's just a little bit different, but that's fine. Car 141, looking at that, Flying Lizards Motorsport. Paul Nemshoff started at the very back of the order. He's moved up, but when Mark Miller gets into that car, that will start flying. In fact, Mark has just taken it over. South African colours on the flanks of this car, so Silas Lurven Ritter is just out, and on board is Anthony Pretorius, driver fittingly from Pretoria, just north of Joburg, capital of the country. Door slammed, little affectionate tap on the roost, but then it's for Anthony to wait until he gets the signal to go. Right, yellow and blue, helmet of Sweden, and that's Hampus Ericsson. His car's led this race from pole position. Advantage went out to 2.8, came down to 1.2 seconds. Now it's 1.8 seconds, 1.6 seconds as they come into the pit. Will Bamber has stayed out for one further lap. There's just under 3 minutes left on the clock, so he can do that.
So they've come in sort of a lap or so earlier than they could have done, but they've probably looked at the running order and seen they would have caught back markers. So smart thing, get in while they had clear track and maximise their time. You don't want to start losing seconds to back markers when you spent all race working hard to build up a 1 second buffer to then lose a load by staying out a lap too long.
Yeah, you really need your team to be on top of. There's a graphic you can have, it's got little dots moving around a circuit plan, and that's where you can gauge exactly where the rivals are sitting. Oh, by the way, I blew the trumpet in support of Fredrik Schandorf. He's just got a 10-second penalty for cutting the first corner, so his job from way down was to try and gain as many places as possible, but scrap that plan. 10 seconds, that's going to hurt. I mean, he will still gain time in the course of his charge, but that's just made it a little bit harder.
Unfortunately, even professional drivers can make mistakes, and it's a high-pressure environment. It's easy to, if his AM driver's got a load of penalties, warnings already, one extra mistake can be enough to get the penalty.
Right, there's Danny Formal out of the car. Hampus Ericsson's on board, so he did everything he could in that race. Remember, the lead when he came in, it balanced at about 1.6 seconds over Will Bamber. Will Bamber will be coming in next time around. Danny Formal hardly looks like he's been driving that. Got a little bead of sweat on his face, but he did a really, really good job, the driver from Costa Rica there. 3 North American Super Trofeo Championship titles in the past 4 years. So, well, he is the class act.
I've never been there, but isn't Costa Rica very hot and quite humid? So again, probably comes here and he's actually getting out the car and he's cold, ready to put a jacket on. Yes. So
yeah, I know. Great place, country well worth visiting. Right, pit window closes in 1 minute and 10 seconds, but Will Bamber surely will be diving in, just looking for car number 129. It's a little blob to come into the pit lane. Pit in, he's in. So's Enzo Garacci and all those behind. Glenn McGee knows where his sponsor's name is, and good to have that on board. Often seems like a cliche, but it's always been a thing since sponsorship really hit American sport, long before other motorsport. The drivers do know how to treat their sponsors and remember to mention them, but to do it like Glenn does, it's done with humour and style as well, so that's good. Right, Hampus Ericsson into the office. Last year came so close to taking the world final title at Jerez de la Frontera. This year, having spent it racing stateside, where of course his brother Marcus has been competing in IndyCars for years, having had a career in Formula One. He's settling down very nicely indeed. Lucas Egu did a great job. Door doesn't want to shut for DL Racing now. He's came in from the lead of the Prime class, was running in 9th overall, and will be handing over there to team boss Diego Locanto.
Yeah, there's a lot of added pressure for drivers like Hampus Ericsson, Johnny Giacotto. When you've got a history of racing in the family, especially successful drivers, you've got a name to live up to. So even if you don't feel that pressure, there is pressure and there is an expectation that you're going to drive a certain way or have a certain set of results. So, it's great to see he is delivering on that. Yeah,
exactly so. And having just gained the 10-second penalty, probably just, cutting turn 1. Unfortunately, right now, change of position. So it did work. So a very, very good in-lap. And Elias de la Tour has now got to get up speed very quickly, because Hampus Ericsson came out, he hoped into the lead of the race, but he came out a lap earlier, so he's got more heat in, not just his tyres per se, because they cool down when they sit in the pits, but in him. I just want to finish my thought. Fredrik Schandorf just been given another penalty, and that was for causing a collision, so it's already been jamboree time. But let's go down and join Andrea Cordarelli, who is in the heart of the pits. Who have you got?
I got Lucas Egu with me, was leading Pro-Am by quite a bit. He did the mega stint, so we are here with him. How do you feel with the car? It looks like you guys were pushing hard.
Yeah, I mean, we struggled all the week with the setup, because Diego, my mate, is an M driver for sure, so for that reason we need to have a car that is like understeer in a way, so for a pro driving in a way is not the perfect mix, but yeah, the steam was quite good. We struggled a bit, especially in the beginning, to add the right temperature on the tires, but so far so good. We are leading, so yeah.
How does it feel to go in the car with the setup now that you adjust a little bit? Is it feeling your teammate a bit more comfortable?
Should be like that. Yeah, I hope for it. I mean, the car now was a bit better than the quali, so yeah, should be good.
Good luck.
Yeah, very impressive drive from him. So leading Pro-Am and just waiting for the cars to go through. Just notice that battle between 232, the Asian title winning car, and Colin Queen's car. After pit stop, Charles Young has moved ahead up into 7th place, 16th to 7th. But this is second to first. That's the point. The car that was second before the pit stops, the yellow and black one, has left the door very slightly open, and there was no stopping Hampus Ericsson there, but was he too deep into the corner? Certainly Elias de la Tour thinks so. So he moves back ahead. So he said, you can try and come past me, but you've got to do a better job than that. But time plenty. So I'm not averse to the lead cars changing position. It certainly makes it exciting. Some brilliant onboard camera footage here as he moved down the back straight, getting a tow. Now, how much does it hurt you? It's not always good to chase another car sitting under its rear wing. Round fast corners.
Round fast corners, no. Up the straight, getting a slipstream is obviously you gain a few kilometres an hour. But if you sit too close to the car in front for too long, at high speed you'll generate understeer, sitting in the dirty air. The airflow and the heat coming out the exhaust is different to just the standard air you're driving through. So the change in the hot air versus the normal air affects the aerodynamics. But also that extra heat starts to heat up your front brakes and tyres, which then adds additional wear. So you'll find that by sitting too closely, you start to wear out your tyres a bit quicker as well.
It's good to have a scientist sitting alongside me to explain all these concepts. Right, 0.3 of a second between the first two cars. That's what 0.3 of a second looks like. Very little. Elias de la Tour, the yellow and black car, out front for TR3 Racing. Wayne Taylor Racing on the 101. That's their car. And that's Hampus Ericsson looking for his moment. The light is beginning to fade. As they have their little battle, they are being caught. New European champion, rising Malaysian star Adam Patera is closing in. He's 6.4 seconds down. He's got Joseph Knopp, who took over from Enzo Garanci, 3 and a bit seconds behind. So for Adam Patera, he's clear to go. Oh, tail really starting to swing out of our race leader, Elias de la Tour. Do that too many times and you may be going for a spin, or more to the point, you won't be using your tyres efficiently. If you want to come round, you go round the outside. There isn't an outside. There you have it, blocked off. And you know full well Hampus knew that too, but he's got to just keep doing whatever he can to unseat. In the background's Adam Patera. Keep an eye on that white, yellow and blue car from VSR. I think he's too far back with a quarter of an hour to go to catch them, but all he can do is try.
Certainly, and you never know, these two might come to blows. You like to hope it won't. You never like to see a race finish like that, but tensions running high. As the tyres start to wear out, mistakes can creep in at the business end of a race.
No, they certainly can, but it makes for, wonderful observation around the 16 turns. Oh dear, this is a car that did so well in the Pro-Am Series in the state, Conrad Geis and Jason Hart. But that's a car that's being parked rather than being raced, so that's very disappointing indeed. Conrad Geis bringing that one in. Right, where is the move going to come? It's going to come somewhere. It's a question of where. Just double-checking exactly where the traffic is around them.
Yeah, Elias de la Tour just needs to make his car twice as wide as it is and just, make sure at all the braking zones he's got it covered on the way in. If anything, go defensive and just really try and get the car turned and focus on the exits. That's the key when you're defending.
Yeah, they're coming up on Brian Changwoo Lee at the moment. He'll be the next car they catch. Out of turn 8 they can go. They can see his brake lights on up ahead, so he just goes into the kink at turn 9. There they come, flashing on hard. A little bit of a breathing space this time around for Elias de la Tour. Well, he can't get much of a tighter line than he's taking there, so he's not yet got enough of it. Oh dear, 203's gone for a spin. That's the Hudson Auto YLKM team, and that's Kai-Shun Liu sitting forlornly on his own signature marks. You can see his own skid marks, rear wheels in the gravel. Did he jump or was he pushed? Well, it's the classic rejoin. Well, the answer to the question is I think he was pushed. And I'm not sure Stefan Racina had anywhere else to go, in fairness, going through the kink at turn 13. And then, the slow... Actually, they weren't his own skid marks there.
No.
But just sitting down there. Now, will that get going again, or will that start to lead to, track listers being clear? So that's good, because I just didn't want the ebb and flow of this race to be sorted out by something like that. Igor Orichev, by the way, has just taken over the lead in the Pro-Am class ahead of Frederick Schrandorff. Number 12 shares the art line car with Showdown Gazava, and he was the driver who, literally on the penultimate lap of the World Finals last year, Jerez de la Frontera, gained the extra point for the fastest lap to go with the points he gained. But what he was doing in terms of gaining positions, and the driver he deposed was Hampus Ericsson, so he comes here with a lot to do. But this time, he's in the heat. Now, I'll tell you someone who's always got a word to say, Alex Denning, and he's been caught by Andrea Caldarelli.
I'm here with Alex. A bit of difficult qualifying, we were talking earlier, but the race seems much better. How was it?
Yeah, we tried something with the car which unfortunately didn't work in the qualifying. Disappointing because, as you know yourself, it's very difficult to overtake, or at least I thought it was before that one. But yeah, we got the car into a very good window for the race, which made my life a bit easier coming through the pack. And yeah, it was a hell of a lot of fun out there overtaking all the cars.
Charles seems to keeping the position, so what's the strategy? You guys are good on tires. We seem that the lap time, it seems that is going better and better, so are you guys find a good setup for like a long stint?
Yeah, absolutely. I think once we got all the overtaking done, it was time to settle down and preserve the tires a bit. We did feel a bit of mechanical oversteer just before the pit stops, and I could feel that the tire temps and pressures were too high, so we boxed blade pressures, gave Charles over hopefully a car he's happy with, and yeah, hopefully push forward and gain a couple of more positions.
Great stint, well done.
Well, thank you, Andrea. And while that was happening, well, safety car has just been called out. There's the SC board, the waved yellow flags. And there was, just before that, a fantastic battle at the front of the race. Elias De La Tour and Hampus Ericsson just having a lot of fun and actually a bit of respect for each other. You know, the overtake, the undertake, but they kept it clean. There's David Kennedy and the gang, SDM Theodore Racing. They won't really, well, the safety car will close the field up, and that will allow Charles Leong and all the cars ahead to eke their way onto the tail of the cars that lead the race. The person who gained the most with the driver of car number 6, Adam Patera, he got to within 3.5 seconds of them before the safety car was called. But car number 10, this is Guido Lucchetti, who's had his problems. It looks like there's a bit of a debris behind the car over the curbing, but that is why we've got the safety car. That needs clearing up. It's up at turn 3, I think. Double wave flags. Yeah, so he stopped at turn 4. No. Anyhow,
looks so low on the front left, so probably some contact.
Right, this is a car in second place. Hampus Ericsson up front, leading the race. Elias De La Tour. No racing at the moment because the car in front of Elias has got a yellow flashing light on its roof, or an orange flashing light, and that is the safety car. Fantastic safety car from the Lamborghini stables, but for all the drivers behind, they understand what it is. But the top two had escaped for so long. Now, this is the overtaking manoeuvre we saw just before. That was a really good dive from Hampus Ericsson into turn 8, but it wasn't going to work. But it's worth trying. That was actually very early in their stint when they were playing together. There was a further move later on, equally exciting. In fact, probably even more that just has kept us on our toes. But these two, having escaped at the front of the field, Pat, there isn't a gap down there, but Elias De La Tour, he's rewritten the laws of physics and snatches that position back. That was quite something.
That was a really good move, because at that point, you're quite heavily loaded on the brakes, driving out towards the middle of the track. So he actually, mid-braking zone, rolled off the brake, managed to get the car angled a bit tighter in and slip up the inside, all without making contact. That was an absolutely fantastically executed move.
It really was. I'd like to see it again and again, because it was super, super smooth, very, very clean. And I tell you what, Hampus Ericsson thinking, I didn't even see that coming.
But total respect to Hampus Ericsson. He could have just turned in and said, I didn't see you, but that is respect between two, you know, fiercely competitive competitors.
Yep, and bear in mind they've been spending all season racing together in the States. Right, 15 points at the moment, potentially going to Will Bamber and Elias De La Tour. They don't have the point for the fastest lap. That is why the crew in second place, Ericsson and Formal, don't get 12 for second. They will get 13 because they got the point for extra of the fastest lap. So up and down the pit lane, a lot of discussions going on. But what we do have, if you're VSR, you would be delighted, because Adam Patera in third place is now going to be right on the tail as the train closes up. And then we're going to have, well, quite possibly an explosive restart when the field gets released. But remember, they'll be released line astern, no overtaking before the start-finish line once the safety car has pulled in, and it's a very short blast down to turn 1. Someone may try to be a hero, but we know there's another word that rhymes with hero. It could end up with them being that.
Yeah, certainly on a safety car restart, there is an opportunity to gain, but there's also an opportunity where you can lose. So sometimes the best thing is to hold position. For someone like Adam Patera, you know, he's back in the race, and you know, let's see what he can do now he's in the fight.
Okay, let's not just focus on the lead of the race, let's also focus on the Pro-Am title battle. We've got Igor Orychev leading the Pro-Am by, well, of course the field is closed up, but it was a small gap anyhow. Car number 12 from Art Line, ahead of number 3 from Frederick Schandorf. That's from the ASR Racing stable. Autosport Racing, and just two positions further back, the third car in that group, Georgi Dimitrov, who won a couple of rounds of the European Series as a Pro-Am driver combination. He's the absolute flyer in that, and he's going to be hoping he can get in on the mix. They started a long way down the field, the Dimitrov car, CMR. It started all the way down in 35th position, up to 17th. So I'd have to say, from their point of view, it's been a very good race for them so far.
Who says you can't overtake at Misano?
Yeah, exactly. What were they talking about? It must have been confused with another circuit. Right, there's Lindsay Brewer looking on to see what Jem Hepworth's up to. Of course, they've been moved up a class to compete against the big guns and not doing badly. They're in the top, well, the 28th position. They've got a chance to have a go at Graham Doyle. They'd been racing against him in the States because Graham was also promoted from Pro-Am, to Pro-Am from Am as well. Right, safety car in this lap. Green flag waved, so we can go racing again. Controlled from the front, Elias de la Tour.
He's gone early.
He's gone early. Looks like Hampus Ericsson guessed it. In third place, Adam Pitera lost a bit of ground. And I think Joseph Knopp is going to go and try and go down the inside of him. Is this going to be tidy or messy into turn number 3? In fact, there was a lap car between them. That's why things were slightly confused. Chang Woo Lee, he's in 30-something position, so everyone's got to try and get past him. But Chang Woo has to stay on the track. First 3 making mistakes, so making an escape. So Adam Pitera survived the attack, helped by the back marker when they got down to the first corner. Oh, bit of contact there. Car 15 being pushed a little bit. That's Benedetto Strignano's car, but little change of angle, but nothing worse than that. The light falling all the time. Watching at the circuit, it's going to be light falling, but on TV it's much brighter than it really is out here because of TV cameras always find light that you cannot see with the naked eye. So conditions in the final few laps, and we've got only 6 minutes left. This race has gone by in a flash. Oh dearie me. Around goes car 104. That's Colin Queen, and he really deserved a top result, and that was him being spun out of 8th position. So I'm afraid that's a top 10 finish for him out of the window. There was always going to be one going around on this lap. It's just the nature of the beast with this many cars on a track like this, and everyone going, well, I haven't got much more opportunity. And
people get desperate.
They do. Well, at this point, 3 abreast is always quite tricky. Oh, little front end of the car going away for car number 163. That's Matteo Seidemann. Stayed out of the gravel, so well done for that. Right, has Elias de la Tour got this one in the bag? Well, 5 minutes and small change left in the race. Oh, wow. And let's pop back down in the pits, getting a bit crazy out on the track, but the pit's not fully quiet. And you've got Milos Pavlovic, Andrea.
Yeah, the pit is a bit quiet here. Milos is following his teammate from onboard camera. I don't think he can hear me very well, but how was your first stint? You were running a P2 and quite comfortable, and then your teammate jumped in. How was the car?
So we made a mistake in qualifying, went for a setup that didn't work, so qualified at the back, but my first stint was good. I tried to do my best, but you know, I'm here still to help Alessio progress. This is his first time in the dark, so it must be difficult for him, and I'm proud to be his coach, his co-driver, and fingers crossed, let's see what happens.
Good luck.
Well, there we are, the experience, ultimate there, so many years racing for Milos Pavlovic. His teammate Alessio Ruffini is down in 8th position in class. Right, a couple of cars possibly didn't get their safety car procedure right. Both cars from the North American Series, Lindsay Brewer and Jem Hepworth. That's Jem who's at the wheel at the moment. Car number 102 and car number 128. That's Ernie Francis and Luke Barkley. So they'll be a little bit frustrated with all of that. Right, front end of the race, it's 2 North American Series cars leading and running second. 0.4 of a second between Elias de la Tour and Hampus Ericsson, then 0.6 of a second. So just 1 second covering the top 3. Adam Pitera, the white car, still has a chance. They're turning into turn 15 now. This is riding on board with Frederick Schandorf, who's leading the Pro-Am class, gaining positions all the time. Bear in mind he's got some penalty time to be added, but he's up to 9th place overall. The light is really falling. Every lap the drivers come out of turn 16 onto the start-finish straight. It's getting darker for them. By the time they're on the podium, who knows? And who knows where to look? Just 0.2 of a second between first and second. Will it be victory for TR3 Racing, car number 129, or Wayne Taylor Racing, car 101? They've been fighting all season in the North American Super Trofeo, and right now this is the first of the 2 races for the Pro and Pro-Am runners. Second race Sunday here at Misano, but this one with just 3 minutes remaining on the clock. It's as tight as you like, and it could still be the car in third place, Adam Pitera for Vincenzo Sospiri Racing. Maybe he'll be able to pass them. Battle for 4th position, tight too. Joseph Knopp has got Anthony Pretorius all over his tail, behind Benedetto Strignano, Luke Barkley. a lot of places suddenly been dropped. 2-3-2, I was looking for it. Charles Leon was up in 7th place. He's tumbled down and down to 13th.
Yeah, clearly a racing incident's gone on there. We haven't seen a replay of it, but yeah, to lose that many places generally implies there's been some sort of contact.
So busy out on the track, almost have time to look at the incident screen to track it down. People still being pinged for cutting corners. Nobody else really knowing where to look. Is it going to be Elias de la Tour winning this race? Will it be Hampus Ericsson, or will it be Adam Patera? The top 3 covered by 1 second. Here comes the yellow and black car from TR3 Racing. De la Tour, Ericsson, Patera. Patera has absolutely astonished me, coming to Europe, not knowing the circuits, wins the European Super Trofeo. Now he's trying to take it to the North American Joe. These two finished 2nd and 1st respectively in the championship, but there aren't many more chances. There's this lap and 1 further lap to go to complete the first half of the World Finals for the pros and pro-ams. What is left in their rubber? Might have been helped a little bit by the safety car period, but then again it would have meant their tyre temperatures dropped and a little bit running at that lower pace, but now they should be pretty much back up to full temperature. And the thing is, after a safety car, if you're the race leader, you generally have no one ahead of you. You get free track in front of you, and that's going to be an absolute blessing for Elias de la Tour. The last thing he wanted was that, well, it is a lottery when you're having to go through back markers. Oh, not quite push and shove, but about as close as you'd like. Hampus Ericsson literally on the tail of the car in front. The kink at 9, onto the brakes a little bit, and at that point Adam Patera could be helping Elias de la Tour if he can just make Ericsson have a little thought about, if I go a little bit wide, there might be a car diving up the inside. It nearly happened at turn 10. It didn't. Now use the slipstream, but then you go through the first of the kinks. That's turn 11. Better exit for the top 2 onto the back straight than it was from Adam Patera in 3rd place. This is the penultimate lap of the first part of the World Finals for the pros and the pro-ams. Can Adam Patera in the white car at the back still have a role to play in this? I don't think he's close enough to make a move for victory, but he might be able to make a move that gives him 2nd place and actually would then take the pressure off Elias de la Tour. But hey, let's not discount Hampus Ericsson, the black car in the middle, from making a move for Wayne Taylor Racing. He's super close at the moment. Down to the first corner they go, and again out of corners. It seems Adam Patera drops back a little each time. I can't explain why. And in the background, a few other cars running very wide indeed. There could be some place changes there. There has been one change I've just noticed. Frederick Schandorf has got up into the lead of the Pram class. There he is, car number 3. He's moved past Igor Oretchev. Now he's going to be setting off after after Luke Barkley. So well, very impressive indeed. I don't know if any of that was with the cars running out wide, but look how tight it is. Tail end of the top 10. 3 and 12, they're running in 8th and 9th positions. It's Schandorf and Oretsev, top 2 positions in pro, top 2 positions on the track. And here comes a move. Is it going to stick into turn 8? We've seen many a move here, particularly from the Wayne Taylor Racing car. I think he might get enough acceleration to be up the inside into turn 9. They're side by side. Adam Patera is only there to pick up the pieces. Gets his nose in front. Is Patera going to go through? There was going to be contact. Patera 3rd, 2nd, 1st into the lead of the race, and it was down to the cars in front, fighting for it for TR3 Racing. They thought it was in the bag. They thought the pressure would be exerted on Wayne Taylor Racing's Hampus Ericsson. Hampus got pushed out wide there, and coming through, the officials will look at all that. Already Patera was on a final warning for track limits. Totally different element to consider. That's nothing to do with push and shove. It looks like front wing a little bit. Is that sticking up, or is it? Yeah, it is. Front edge of his car. Bit of bodywork is up, but here we go. Turn 15. What comes next? Turn 16. Final corner, final lap. The first part of the World Finals, and Adam Patera needs to go in a straight line to get the finish line as soon as he possibly can. But he crosses a line first. Number 6 takes victory there. Adam Patera, new European champion. Elias de la Tour.
What happened to Ericsson?
Well, Ericsson has he's lost a lot of positions. He's suddenly fallen down to 7th position overall. Joseph Knopp's come up into 3rd. Benedetto Strignano into 4th. 5th has become Anthony Pretorius. 6th, Luke Barkley. 7th, Ericsson. So what? Did he pick up a puncture maybe in that contact? You can see there's a bodywork where it shouldn't be on the flank, the nose of Adam Patera, building on the work of Paul Levey, very much in 3rd place, about 7 seconds down before the pit stops, behind the North American dicing duo. But there was half an opportunity, quarter of an opportunity, and Adam Patera died for it. He had to make the move up at between turns 9 and 10 as the first 2 runners, Elias de la Tour and Hampus Ericsson, were fighting for position It was only going to be gifted to him, but he had to be there to make the move. But victory there for number 6 for Vincenzo Sospiri Racing. And also on that last lap, Frederick Schandorf suddenly went tumbling down the order. Mind you, he had some penalties to be added. So Igor Orechev has taken victory in the Pro-Am class in 8th place.
Oh, they've actually stopped.
No, he hasn't. He's also got... Oh, yeah, so he has. Yeah, a few penalties being applied at the moment, but certainly at the moment, Adam Patera listens to the runner, so not making it to the finish.
Maybe.
Hampus Ericsson, he kept us entertained. He was doing a cracking job, but on that final lap, they got to there were 16 turns. It was turn 10. Vincenzo Sospiri Racing, yeah, happy all round. And there's Todd Kinsford in there joining in. He races in the other race, but you know it's all about the team. But there's Vincenzo Sospiri in the middle, top racer from just up the road in Forlì. But you know what a team he's run for Lamborghini over the years, and it seems to be becoming very good on the circuit. That's not quite as close to his home as Imola is, but this is very much Vincenzo's place on the map, I would say.
Yeah, I think Hampus Ericsson was actually so focused on covering Elias de la Tour that they didn't even necessarily realise or know how close Adam Patera was. And yes, there was contact made, but because of the nature of the braking zone and that corner, I think it's just because Hampus Ericsson had a little bit of lock. Similar move to when Elias de la Tour went back past Hampus Ericsson earlier in the race. That sort of move where the corner's closing in, but there is still a gap. He put it in the gap, a little bit of rubbing it on the way into the apex. I'd say that was a racing incident, in my opinion. I'd say deserving winner and just bad luck for the 101 crew.
Yeah, I mean, I concur with that. It was the other two having a battle, and the laws of physics dictated that you had to go somewhere. But Paul Levey without the helmet and Adam Patera, well, I said just what a remarkable season he's had. And, you know, to be racing as he was Hampus Ericsson, you don't even need to see that he's awash with disappointment. The fact he didn't even get to the finish. So even if he'd come home in 3rd place, he'd have put some useful points into the bank. He hasn't. And that is really, really going to hurt. For Elias de la Tour, his teammate set the fastest lap of the race, so he adds 1 point to the 12 for seconds. So they've got 13. Adam Patera, well, he and his teammate Paul Levey have got 15 points in the bank. And there's been a change right at the end because I think some time penalties were added, and it means Chris van der Drift has come through to win the Pro-Am class, up in 12th place overall. So I'll have to keep scribbling on what I've written down already in my notes for after the race. But, well, for VSR, Paul Levey with the cap and Adam Patera, look at us, with a smile and the laugh. Well, he went into the fight. He was the add-on, if you will. The safety car definitely gave him a huge helping hand. He was already starting to make progress before that, so it's not all down to good fortune. But as everything opened out in front of him, he dived for what was a quarter of a gap, and it worked for him. So I think any moment now we may be getting... Andrea has caught up with our winners, and let's hear Andrea with Paul Levey and the driver who brought it home on the last lap, Adam Patera.
Yes, Adam is here with me. Adam, what a nice move at the last lap.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yes, I knew they were going to fight. And I waited till the last lap, and I saw my opportunity. There was space on the inside, and I just sent it.
Well done. So what do you think about your teammate last lap move?
I think everyone saw the crazy job he did. Fastest car on track in the second stint, and in the end he did the overtake in the last lap. It's like an Hollywood scenario. So yeah, fantastic job. I'm very proud of him. It's a fantastic team job with the team. We had a fantastic car, I think, through the whole race, and yeah, we're gonna enjoy that one a lot. Grazie a tutti.
What's the recipe of these two working together? What's the magic here?
What's the magic? I think we get along very well. More than
hard work, discipline, nothing else. Head down and
he was at home last week to prepare for this championship, for the European, and now for the World Final. We worked a lot on the simulator, but a lot of things, and yeah, we are more than only drivers and teammates. We are friends, so I think it makes the difference in the end.
Well done, guys.
Well, at the start of the race, I fancied they'd be right in at the mix, but the safety car brought them into that scope. There was only one chance, and it was grabbed with both hands. And again, I'd love to see the replay of the incident, but it was a really clean move. We've had under investigation, various people have been picking up penalties.
It's changed. Number 6 has been given a 5-second penalty for causing a collision. Just come through.
Oh, just come through. Yes, there it is. So I'm afraid they're going to be cheering for second place at the moment, but. And there we are, suddenly they've become not second, they're winners. Elias de la Tour and Will Bamber, helmet on for Will. He set the fastest lap of the race. There I was saying they've got 13 points. No, they've got 16 points to put in the back. Brad and Patera, still 12 points is a great scoop, but you know, to be leading in a really tight battle and to hold off the challenge of Hampus Ericsson, then have a third car in the mix, and then with half a lap to go to be deposed, the air must be out of your balloon, but suddenly it's back in. It's like Will Bamber just can't believe it. And Elias de la Tour, look at his eyes.
I must say, from obviously what they said during the American series, how Will Bamber's more sort of in a coaching role. He had an amazing first stint closing the gap to Danny Formal, but the way Elias de la Tour drove that second stint and that move where he retook the lead after losing, I mean, it seemed a couple of times he left the door open at turn 8, but then he always seemed to have an answer into turn 10.
Well, we've already had one winners interview. Let's go and have a second attempt, because we've got new winners down with Andrea.
Yes, sorry, they are a bit trying to find a bit of a hugging here and there. Will, yeah. So, how was the last part of the race?
I mean, I was spotting for his Elias as much as possible. Sorry, I'm in disbelief. Obviously, we didn't know what it was going to be like. The race is super tight, amazing racing. Proud of this guy. You know, great future. We got together this year. He's improved every single step of the way. That was so much pressure. So he's got a bright future, this one here.
How did you feel at the end of the race? There was a lot of things going on. What was in your mind at the end?
Stay in front, do whatever you can to stay in front. And right when that chaos happened at turn 10, the last lap, I just knew open up the corner and something was going to happen good. And it was about time. We needed a little bit of luck this weekend. Got a little bit unlucky to start, but it all came down, and all came down to a great start from him.
Well done, boys.
Thank you.
Well, it's almost double the gift when you think you've lost it and it suddenly comes back your way. But you're quite right. You know, we've got a lot of drivers in Super Trofeo, including Elias de la Tour, young Lamborghini Academy drivers who are very short in experience, but they're learning and learning fast. The talent's there, but it's about bringing it out. And that does take really strong coaching from the team, from their mentor. And he delivered. That was extreme pressure.
Yeah, that was, you know, he was under pressure, whether he was leading or in second. He had to react to everything that was going on around him, and he did. Even there, you know, in his interview, he knew that incident was going to happen. He just opened the steering, let it happen, let it unfold, and obviously a bit of luck, and it's gone their way.
Well, here are the revised final results. A 5-second penalty costing victory for VSR, so Paul Levey and Adam Patera have to put their smiles away until tomorrow and drop to second place behind Elias de la Tour and Will Bamber for TR3 Racing. North American runners-up, but are they heading to world title here, the world finals at Misano? And Enzo Garacci, Joseph Knopp set third place for them. Sylvan Ritter, Anthony Pretorius fourth, Luke Barkley, Ernie Francis in fifth. And the top runner, the top finisher in the Pro-Am class with Todd Kingsford and Chris Van Drift. Just running down the other results, a few top names went missing at the end, but most notably the 101 crew that dominated from pole position and didn't get to finish the race at all. But it's a two-part race. We'll see what happens tomorrow. But let's go down shortly to the pit lane to join Andrea Caldarelli. He'll have the Pro-Am winners, but we're just getting through the graphic there. Right, let's go down and join Andrea with our Pro-Am winners. Oh, sorry, with the third place crew. I beg your pardon.
I'm actually here with the third guys. It obviously was like a bit of a crazy race. You guys were looking from the back. What was going through your mind?
So in my second stint, we had some little issues. So surviving this race was the main point, which we did it quite well. P3, we take it for tomorrow, and that's it.
What was the issue, if I can ask?
Not comment now. I don't know still, but we take it just what it is, and I'm quite happy.
What did you think about the race? Obviously, it was in the car at the end. It was a bit thrilling, but I guess you were excited to see what was happening in the front with the other cars.
Yeah, of course. Since the first lap of Joseph, it was the fight with all the other cars. We had the rhythm all the week, so it's just an accomplishment of all our hard work.
Well done, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Just to correct myself, that's, of course, the crew that came through into third place at the end. in that final lap sort out. You've got to be there to take the points, and these points get added to whatever points they score in tomorrow's race, with points for the top 10 finishers. Then we'll work out who is the world final champion in Pro-Am, and the separate race for Am and Lamborghini Cup chargers. And night has really fallen very quickly. Turning around from our commentary box, it's full darkness here at Misano, pretty dark behind the podium, but plenty of conversation. But the happiest smiles, Will Bamber in the middle of shot, Elias Latour getting a pat on the back. So they were heading for win or second. They came across the line in second, and it became a win. But, you know, the top three crews, super strong for Enzo Garacci and Joseph Knopp, of course. They got some very tidy points for third place overall, but you do have to feel for the 101 crew from Wayne Taylor Racing. Led the race, got caught, really clean battle. I was so impressed by the battling between both pairs of drivers, and yet it came to blows, the smallest of blows in many ways in motor racing, but the result not good, and the 101 didn't get to finish, and Hampus Ericsson had to park it, and we saw his shoulders down as he just brought himself back to the pits. Gutted.
Yeah, you know, he knows deep down he's now only an outsider for the overall title. They could go and win the race tomorrow and hope everyone has a rough result, but realistically they are now outside of the real front guys challenging for the overall title. But any three of those pairings deserve to win the race, so it's unfortunate it came to blows, but that is motorsport.
Yeah, absolutely it is. So Joseph Knopp, Enzo Garacci out onto the podium already for third place for the Oregon team. Second place hurts all the more. I mean, you know, they would have been probably quite happy with second place running through the race. That was one up from where they were running through most of the race. But Adam Patera and Paul Levey, well, they'll have to come back and try again tomorrow. But by dint of giving a 5-second penalty them onto the top step, the drivers that led onto the last lap, Elias de la Tour and Will Bamber.
Applauso al podio ed è pronto ovviamente il dottor Maurizio Reschiuta, head of motorsport.
And again, it's always great to see young drivers coming through. Elias, just 19 years old, so he's got, I'm sure, not just a rich future ahead of him, but you know, he's clearly learnt very fast, because you don't get many years of car racing under your belt by the time you're 19. So he's adapted to big, powerful machines, and that will be a really sweet win to take into the Sunday, the second of the 2 days of the 2025 World Finals.
Certainly been a great year for those guys on the top step of the podium.
No, it really has, and it's about, you know, they always say the weakest link in the chain is the thing that brings you down, so make the weakest link strong, and that's precisely what you do in bringing a younger driver on. So there we are, a Hankook trophy for the winning team for TR3 Racing. Presented up there. There'll be photos as well, plenty of screaming and applause. They thought they'd ended up with second place, but the 5-second penalty for VSR for the number 6 crew means it's victory. Maximum points for them, the bonus point as well for fastest lap. So 16 points for Elias de la Tour and Will Bamber. Let's see what unfolds on Sunday. Now champagne. Most of the drivers though, well, particularly if you've just been demoted from victory, Paul Levey and Adam Patera moving off to consider life.
È il momento di cambiare le bandiere dopo la festa sul podio, perché ci prepariamo per la cerimonia Pro-Am. I vincitori della Pro.
So, victory going to the bright yellow and black car from TR3 Racing. Will Bamber, who started, who chased down Danny Formal, set the fastest lap. In fact, there should be another point being added to theirs because they've got the fastest lap. But anyhow, Will Bamber, Elias de la Tour, 15 points to take into tomorrow as their foundation block. Paul Levey and Adam Patera, second place, they get 12. Enzo Garacci, Joseph Knopp, 10 points for third place, and so on down, with Anthony Pretorius, Silas Löwenritter moving up from 5th on the grid to 4th. They'll be pleased with that, but eventually the 101 crew ending up a little further down the order than they would have liked, but they know they've got the pace in the car, and they've again qualified well for the second race tomorrow. Right, the Lamborghini, I beg your pardon, the Pro-Am podium about to fire into life, and we'll expect obviously the top 3 finishers in that. Car number 74, BDR competition, Antonin and Dimitri Engelbert. And in second place in Pro-Am, it's the number 13 crew, Georgi Dimitrov and Stefan Guerin. And bear in mind, that car came from 36th to work its way up to 13th. That was quite a charge from the French and British duo. But on the top step, it's the 298 crew. VSR from the Asian Championship, Todd Kingsford. We saw him leaping down when he thought the sister car for the team had won the race, but he shared with Chris van der Drift. They get the top podium. Just looking at Todd Kingsford's face, it's like he can't believe he's up on the top step here. So this is a driver with a short racing career that's really finding form, and obviously Chris van der Drift brings a lot of speed to that car in the Pro-Am title. But the big man Todd Kingsford up there, and I'm sure he'll be screaming and shouting when he gets his trophy.
It's like we said earlier, if you can really listen to your professional, your coach, and learn and soak in all that experience, as an amateur, you can really, your trajectory is unlimited. You know, you can progress so quickly if you're prepared to listen and take in all that knowledge.
Yeah, I mean, the fastest gain in any sporting career is in the early days, but if you do listen, you do advance. It's much harder for a pro to find another 1/10 of a second because they'll be lapping consistently on the pace. But there we are, VSR, another trophy. They're really going to need a bigger van to take all the trophies back to Forley at the end this week, by the looks of things.
That's very good. Then you can show your trophies. Looking downstairs, please. Looking down.
Don't forget, for some of these drivers, they appear on podiums all around the world a lot, and for others, it's just a massive novelty. But I think being in the World Finals, that's something very, very special indeed. It's the culmination. It's the adding of the 3 championships, the Asian, the North European, the European, North American and European Series, the World Super Trofeos, and it's... You never know. You don't know how those championships are going to combine, you know, where the rankings fall. They change every year. But look, 3 different teams and 3 different nationalities all taking honours here. So that's another really, really good sign for Lamborghini and for the World Finals.
Yeah, it really is a worldwide brand and championship.
No, and judging by the number of cars coming out to play, the number of spectators here this weekend, the number of VIPs coming to visit, it's a really good atmosphere. But for Todd Kingsford and Chris van der Drift, 15 points in the pot for them. Georgi Dimitrov and Stefan Guerin, who are the British Pro-Am champions, they come home second with 12 points. Dimitri Engelbert and fellow French racer Anthony Nara, they pocket the 10 points for third in class. We come back and do it all over again tomorrow, and when all the points are added up after 2 races, both for the Pro-Ams and the Pros, and the separate race for the Lamborghini Cup and the AM races, then we will know who the 4 World Final champions are across those respective classes. The weather conditions, I think it's going to be cool, but I do believe it's going to be sunny tomorrow. We had thought there might be rain today, and it managed to stay away. But the drivers, again, they'll have to pay attention to their tyres. But let's look back at the highlights of 50 minutes of racing that did not disappoint. Front row, 2 North American crews, Danny Formal on pole position, and alongside the challenge was going to be coming. In fact, one of the best charges was a little further back, car number 129, making a move. Paul Levey fell back a little bit, a few others fell off at the very start of the race, but generally pretty clean indeed. The light was beginning to fall, the action was beginning to hot up. If someone spins in front of you, you pray. Do they get out of the way? Generally they do, but still the accidents were coming up and down the field. But at the front end, it was all about Danny Formal pulling away, and it was a question of how much Will Bamber would fall away. But after a while, Will started coming back. The gap was closing and closing. It was just over a second when they came to the pit stops. It was a little bit of push and shove, a little bit more, but generally it was good. And at the front end, the racing was absolutely fantastic. Unfortunate little clash there for car number 203, Hudson Auto car being spun around by the Michanek Motorsport entry. But up front, this was the battle. One of the best moves of the race came very late on. Elias de la Tour just working out where there was half a gap. But then, with a few more incidents, we had a safety car coming out, and that was changed the complexion of the race. It would bring the white, yellow, blue car in the background into the mix. And look, from third to second to first, half a lap to go. And that was the lead being taken by the new European champion, Adam Patera. A bit of damage on his car. He was first to the finish line. Elias de la Tour chased him to the finish, and unfortunately for Hampus Ericsson of 101, he didn't even get there. The car had to pull to a halt. He did pick up some minor points, but then a 5-second penalty for contact dropped Patera and LeVay to second, and this duo on the roof of the car, Will Bamber, and with the helmet, Elias de la Tour, taking maximum points away from Saturday's race here at the World Finals. They're going to try and do it all over again, but what a way to end a Saturday. And that is it from Saturday here at World Circuit at Misano. It's been hugely exciting, and tomorrow we'll come back and we'll have the second part of each of those races. Join me, Bruce Jones, and hopefully Jack Bartholomew tomorrow, and we'll see how it unfurls. But it's been a brilliant day's racing. Do make sure you dial in again tomorrow to listen and watch.